You can long press on that object and extract just the object from the image. This is so much smoother. It's like this is gonna be game-changing for astrophotography. What's up guys, Eric here from Timecodes TV, and I'm here with the Galaxy S23, S23 Plus, and S23 Ultra. And today we're going to be taking a look at some of the coolest new features on these devices. But before we get into that, pre-orders are now live for all of these devices, and I have an exclusive link in the description and the pinned comment that'll save you guys an extra $50 on these devices on top of all the pre-order deals. If you want to get the latest Galaxy Book 3, you can also save 10% with an exclusive link that I have for that as well. And full disclosure, I'm working with an affiliate company and Samsung to bring you guys those exclusive deals. So of course those are affiliate links, and if you purchase the products through one of those links, I do get a small commission at no extra cost to you. So if you want to support the channel, that's a great way to do it. With that out of the way, let's dive in. So right here, I've got the Galaxy S22 Ultra from last year, this year's Galaxy S23 Ultra, and the standard S23 here as well. And what I want to take a look at are some of the new camera features. So if I tap the settings gear on all three of these devices, you'll see that you're met with a lot of the same features at the top. But if you scroll down a bit, you'll see this new feature on the S23 devices called Camera Assistant. And this gives you some extra features that were not there on the Galaxy S22 series. So one of the first new options is Auto HDR. Now what this is going to do is automatically enable HDR mode, which is high dynamic range, when you're either taking a picture of or filming something that has really bright parts of the image and really dark parts of the image at the same time. And this will help capture even more detail in those dark and light areas. Picture softening allows you to soften the picture a bit. This is typically used for things like selfies to help get rid of blemishes. So here's a picture with the softening turned off, and if I zoom in on my facial hair here, you'll be able to see a lot of detail in the beard. But with the softening turned all the way up, and I zoom back in, the beard's gonna be a lot softer. And this softening is what helps hide blemishes. And here's a side-by-side so you guys can see the difference. Auto lens switching is a feature that's on by default on the Galaxy S22 series. And what that does is automatically switch which of the lenses on the back you're using, depending on things like your zoom level, the lighting, and the distance from the subject. The S23 series gives you the option to turn that feature off. Quick tap shutter is a feature that lets you take pictures a lot faster by taking the picture as soon as your finger touches the shutter button. Typically on Samsung devices, the picture isn't taken until you release the shutter button to help avoid camera shake. But Samsung has improved their optical image stabilization on the Galaxy S23 series, and turning this feature on will allow you to get pictures a lot faster. And here's a sample of the difference in speed from taking pictures with the Galaxy S22 Ultra on the left and the Galaxy S23 Ultra on the right. And if you want to speed up picture taking even more, you can go to this capture speed setting and switch to prioritizing speed instead of quality. And this is a great feature to enable if you often find yourself missing moments because you can't get your camera out fast enough and hit that shutter button fast enough to capture a moment. So with the prioritized speed settings enabled, as well as the quick tap shutter feature enabled, let's see how much faster the S23 Ultra is to the S22 Ultra. So as you can see, the S23 Ultra is definitely taking pictures faster than the S22 Ultra. Even the regular S23 seems to take pictures faster than the S22 Ultra. Now let's just take a single picture and see what the difference is in speed there. Something else I'm noticing while I'm doing this is that if you look right here, you'll see that the S23 Ultra saves the picture significantly faster than the S22 Ultra. Scrolling down a bit further, we get some more options here. Video recording in photo mode is something that's already been available on previous versions of Samsung's flagship smartphones, and it's just where you can hold the shutter button down to start recording a video. And if you've been watching my camera reviews on Samsung's devices, you'd already know about this feature. This next feature is big for families. It's timer multi-photo options. So you can enable, say, 5 pictures, and then the interval between the pictures when you set a timer. So let's go ahead and set this to 1 second to make it go by a little bit faster. We're gonna go back here, and we're gonna go ahead and enable the timer. And we're just gonna do a 2-second timer and take that picture. And then 1 picture, and there's another picture, and another picture. It's gonna keep doing that 5 times. This is incredible if you have kids, and I can't wait to be able to use this feature because if you're trying to get a group photo, especially with kids, the first take never comes out great. So if you could take a burst of like 5 or 7 shots, that is amazing, and it's gonna make it a lot easier to get a great shot of your family or your friends. Camera timeout's pretty obvious. It's just how long the camera is gonna stay open before it automatically closes. So if you're gonna set your camera up and you need more time with it just being on but not actually filming or taking pictures, you can set this to a higher number. Dim screen while recording is excellent if you ever set your phone up on a tripod to film something. Like maybe it's Christmas morning with your family and you just have a phone set up on a tripod to film that. You can set your screen to dim after a certain amount of minutes to help save battery life and be able to record for even longer. If you're someone who wants to use your Galaxy S23 for some professional work, there's this clean preview on HDMI displays option. And what this does is let you have an external monitor for your S23 if you're going to be filming with some kind of a rig. If you go to this More section, you'll get this new option here called Expert RAW. Again, this is the S22 Ultra, so you don't see that here. And if you go into this mode, you'll see this weird constellation icon here. And if you tap this, you'll be able to take an astro photo. And if you tap Show for the Sky Guide, this is going to show you constellations in real time. And if I move the phone around, you'll see that the constellations move as well, because that's where I'm aiming my phone. So when you're trying to line up shots for a specific constellation, this is a great way to do it. You can also change the exposure time from 4 minutes all the way out to 10 minutes for exposure. That's crazy. I cannot wait to get this and test this out and see how good of an astrophotography photo you can actually take with this. Because on the Galaxy S22 Ultra, even if you go into pro camera mode, you're still limited to just 30 seconds. So from a 30-second exposure all the way to 10 minutes, like this is gonna be game-changing for astrophotography. And it's something that I'm super excited to test out. The second incredible feature that's added with this Expert RAW mode is found in this upper right corner, and this is getting multiple exposures. So there's two different options for these multiple exposures. You can do continuous, which is where it automatically figures out what exposures to take and compiles that into a single image for you, and it does that using AI processing. And you can choose to take just 2 exposures or all the way out to 9 exposures. You can also change how those exposures are added together. You can add them, you can average them, you can get a really bright image or a really dark image. Now, manual mode is what most people think about when they think about getting multiple exposures. This allows them to take a picture at whatever exposure they set, then they can come in and adjust the exposure and get another picture, and they can keep doing that for however many exposures they set. Another brand new feature on the entire Galaxy S23 lineup is that if you take a picture of an object, then go to your gallery, you can long press on that object and extract just the object from the image. And when you release it, you get the option to copy it, share it, or save it as its own image. Now if I back out into my gallery, you can see the cropped image right there. Once you've taken a bunch of awesome pictures with your Galaxy S23, you can quickly share them by long pressing on a picture, and you can swipe across or down to select multiple pictures, then tap Share, and you'll see this option down here called Sharing Using QR Code. If I tap this, I'll get a QR code here, and if I open up the camera on my iPhone and I scan that QR code and tap the link, I'll be able to download the full res photos and videos directly to the iPhone. So this is an excellent feature for quickly sharing all your photos and videos with all your friends. Space Zoom is a feature that's reserved just for Samsung's Ultra line in the S series, and this allows you to zoom in all the way to 100 times. Now this was available on the S22 Ultra, and it's obviously still available on the S23 Ultra. But Samsung says that they did make some improvements, so let's go ahead and test it out. So here's your shot at 0.6 times zoom on the S22 Ultra, and here it is with the S23 Ultra. And the thing I'm gonna zoom in on is all the way down there. You can barely see it on the screen right now. Now I'm gonna split screen this so you guys can see the difference. So we're gonna punch right into a picture taken with the 10 times zoom. And now here we are all the way at 100 times zoom. Now of course a picture like this isn't something I'm gonna post to social media, but you can tell that you do get more detail at 100 times zoom with the S23 Ultra. And especially for this being such a dark area, I'm actually really impressed with the amount of detail. Just for some perspective, here's the best detail you can get out of that from the iPhone 14 Pro Max. That's Apple's latest and greatest iPhone. And keep in mind, this picture was taken from all the way back here. In video mode, Samsung's also made a huge improvements to the 8K mode. So on the Galaxy S22 Ultra, you can do 8K at 24 frames per second, and the shot was really cropped in. But on all of the S23 devices, including the regular S23, you now get 8K 30 frame per second video, and it is so much smoother than the S22 Ultra. So here's a sample of the S22 Ultra's 8K 24 frame per second video. Now here it is on the S23. This is so much smoother, and you also get a much wider shot, so you don't have to get as far away from the things that you want to film. If you guys want to see my deep dive coverage on the Galaxy S23 Ultra specifically, be sure to subscribe and turn on notifications. That's it for this episode. God bless, guys, and I'll catch you in the next one.